What's that? Okay, so we'll call our workshop to order. We'll go on the pledge. We've already taken care of that, so we'll move on. I did want to note that Mr. Holmstrom will not be present today. He's absent today. So we've got the five of us. Public comment. Anybody got public comment on this side? Hearing none, we'll move on. Mr. Tarr, again, a nuisance update for us.
You'll have to use a microphone. There's a little switch on it.
It might be on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
321 5th Street Southwest. That was where the fire department burned at the house last week. Staff's working on the cleanup and the core out this week. That usually takes a little bit, but they're on top of it. It's nice to see that property down. Had court last Thursday for nuisance property 321 3rd Street Southwest. That was continued. The good news is, though, the property owner is nearing completion for what was required to abate. I think that was a garage and a shed. 1124 Street Southeast, the demo's actually underway finally. Then notice deadline approaching soon, but it looks like they may be able to hit that if they stay busy this week. Nuisance at 33 7th Street Southwest. Notice was sent, property owner working on abatement before the deadline, where they installed a new roof on that, and they're continuing to work on it, so that's good. 214 7th Street Southwest, sent a notice to that one. That is a previous condemned property. There's new ownership there, kind of struggling a little bit. They've called and kind of want to disagree about the notice, but there's not really a whole lot to disagree about, but we'll continue to work with them and through that. Nuisance at 214 2nd Avenue Southwest. The notice was sent. The property owner abated prior to the deadline, and that's a brand new commercial roof on that property. We've issued 77 grass and weeds notices so far this year. Most remain in compliance after the notices. However, 3 municipal infractions are in the process of being served. We have a few owners that are now keen on what we do a little bit, so they're locking their fence gates to where our nuisance mowers can't get there. So then they get a $310 ticket, and then we hopefully get their attention that way. And then I want to remind citizens to trim bushes and trees extending out into the alley right away. I've noticed there's been a kind of a problem with that so far this year a little bit. We're seeing that. So staff will do that once in a great while if it's something high up that people can't reach, but it's hard to schedule that with all their other things they have scheduled. So I'd ask people to take care of their trees and bushes next to the alleys if they would. Other than that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions?
Do you have a timeline for patching?
I don't. I kind of want to get this property cored out and cleaned up first and then send the guys out to get the Durapatching done. I know the county's about done with it, so I'd like to get on as soon as possible. There's a lot of them out there.
2nd Street Southeast, there's one the size of a refrigerator.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them, I know. Very well aware.
All right, Mr. Palmer?
I was on the City of Altoona's Facebook page the other day, and they have a dealer talking about people's sidewalks cracked and the replacement program. And of course, similar to our lawn mailing that we did, it gets thrown back. Well, when all the city fixes their streets and when all the city fixes their lawns, we'll fix our lawn. Well, it's the same deal. But I'm going to get a copy of the sidewalk notice they sent out, because I think it's going to be valuable for us, because I know we've teetered back and forth on sidewalk issues with residents, and after we make sure ours are all good, then I'd like to tackle some other ones.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Tarr? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chief Morrison?
Yeah, and on the police department side of things, we wrote 2 municipal citations today. There's 7 citations pending and in the process. We had 2 court cases this week. We had positive results on both of those. One of them was the 700 block of First Street Northwest. That's a Vosburg property. We did win in court on that one, but when the judge sent the stuff over, there was no order. So I'm trying to follow up with where the order is through the attorney's office. So once that's done, hopefully we can get in there and get some of that cleaned up. But that's all I got unless there's questions.
Chief
I'd like to
Morrison?
talk to you after the meeting.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, next item up is the Ward 1 City Council applicant interviews. I know we've got 4 of you in here today, and we're glad to see you all, the interest that you want to get be part of the city and help us out a lot. I know the members of the council have had time to review your application information, so we've got all that. They are probably going to have some questions for you. So once we get to that point, we'll just start going around the table, and we can do that. I do ask that if the city council, or if the council has somebody that wants to ask a question that everybody was going to answer, just let us know so that we make sure we get everybody a chance. Otherwise, if you got a question for 1 or 2, or we'll just keep rotating around until we run out of questions, and then we'll go from there. So let's start out just really quick, kind of a 2 to 3 minutes or less, it doesn't matter, just kind of a brief introduction of yourself. So we'll start over here.
Hi, I am Elizabeth Welker. I consider myself an Iowa transplant. I grew up in Spokane, Washington for the first time 19 years of my life. I've been in Iowa for the past 3 years. Absolutely love it. Love living the small town life. It took a little bit of adjustment, but it's growing on me. Part of the reason I applied for this position was when I moved here, I really struggled feeling like there was a spot and a voice for young adults in Hampton, and that kind of representation was lacking in our city. And so I'm really passionate about getting involved and getting things kind of brought to attention from the younger point of view, and just, identifying what could make Hampton more valuable and more attractive to that younger crowd, to bring them in, because Hampton is a small town. It's at risk at some point of becoming a once was, and we want to prevent that. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. My name's Marlene Tapp. Sorry, I don't want to be too loud here. I've lived in Hampton for 48 years. I've been married for 46 years. I was employed for the last 23 years, as some of you may know. We are raising our 10-year-old granddaughter, as we adopted her 3 years ago. So we do have a child in the school system. So we are starting over as parents. I decided to run for city council because I was on the working side, and now I kind of want to be involved more in depth into the process of what all goes on to the city to make it a better place. I did come from a small town in Brockford, Iowa, so it was a small town, and now I moved to Hampton, like I said, 48 years ago. So I did go from a small town, and I don't want to see Hampton, go off the map like so many small towns have, or some other towns have gone. When I do something, I'm very passionate about it, and I put forth all my effort into doing what I do, be it work, personal life, anything that I'm involved in. My husband was a fireman for 25 years, so I volunteered when he was on the fire department, which is another valuable aspect for our citizens. We have a lot of great things going on here in Hampton. I'd like to see that continue and to grow. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
My name is Aviana Rodriguez Nolte. I'm 22 and I've lived in Hampton my entire life. I don't have any children, but I do have 3 younger brothers that I do find myself very involved with. The youngest one is 5. So I'm getting my mom in training lessons. I'm employed as a legal assistant at Katie and Rosenberg. My previous employment was the abstract office. I did land title work, so I've got some real estate under my belt. And in my free time, I enjoy music. I play in the municipal band, and I have for about 10 years. It's the highlight of my summer. I enjoy reading and being outdoors. I enjoy all of our parks that we have. I consider myself an oversized child sometimes because of my young age. I would say that I'm a free-spirited individual. I value authenticity and growth, and I'm very forward-looking. And I'm always looking at the future and what's possible and what can grow. And I just feel like, as a young person, like Elizabeth said, Hampton kind of needs some of that on the city council. I think we need a voice, and it would be great to have a young person on the council. And I just strive to make meaningful impacts in all parts of my life. So, and I would now like that to be Hampton City Council.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kristen Rohde. I am 37. I was born here, actually, at the hospital as well. I graduated from here. Then I moved to Waterloo for 7 years, then moved back. I missed being here. My family's here. I have 2 daughters. One is almost 12. The other one is 9. So we spend a lot of time in the summer with city sports, a lot of school activities. It's always fun. I am employed with the county as a dispatcher. And I guess I just applied. I would like to keep Hampton growing and doing good things so that way we can attract younger people, more families, and just make it still a nice place to be.
All right, thank you. All right, like I said, go ahead.
I'm just going to ask, Kelsey, is there anybody on Zoom? No. Okay, because the other candidate thought maybe she might Zoom in, but maybe not, so just wanted
All
to
right,
check.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will start, and just, like I said, just come around. Mr. Holmstrom is not here with us today, but he did leave some questions, so Ron will let you know about those. But we'll just start with Mr. Lamos, and if he has a question, we'll just start moving
First of
on.
all, I'd like to thank you for your interest and let you know that it's not easy to sit in your position. It's like sitting in a courtroom. You feel this tall sometimes, you know, and your stress level goes up and your face gets red and you get warm. Anyway, I've been there, and so just wanted to tell you that. I guess my questions would pertain to everyone, and my first one is, what is the biggest challenge currently facing Hampton?
We'll start with you, if that's fine.
I definitely think a lot of it, I would say infrastructure is a big one, just roads and like the sewer systems and stuff. I know especially in my area, there's a lot that could be fixed, I think. Also, nuisances, I think, are also a pretty big deal here in town, safety-wise, and I know people get worried about their property value going down. It's just kind of unsightly, and it doesn't really attract people to the town. And see just unsightly buildings they don't really think is a place to stay or to visit. So I think those would probably be the 2 main things, I would think.
All right, thank you.
I would say a lot of the same. I live down the street from her, so I've got to agree with some of the roads and sidewalks in our neck of the woods, and then just in general in town with like road safety, speeding and stop signs. Just that's kind of crazy down in our neck of the woods too. It's kind of like a highway on 7th Street. So just improving the safety and streets of Hampton is a big one for me. And then that, like Christian said too, is that's going to then bring more people in the end to Hampton. A great point that she brought up was staying in Hampton too. There's lots of people that come to the area and want to visit the area and visit relatives. They stay in Clear Lake or they stay in Mason City. Let's bring people to staying in Hampton. Let's clean up those nuisances, and those are great. The issuing of them is great for the property owners, maybe not so much, but seeing those cleaned up is really nice. So I would definitely say just there's a lot of big things that we could do that in the long run it would bring a lot of people to Hampton. So I would say, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, it's like a broken record here. Okay, yeah, it's the same thing. You know, Hampton's a great place to live. Like I said, I moved here. We had 2 children, and unfortunately they left because there wasn't any place for them to work. We have 3 other grandsons that they'll come and visit us. They like the pool and everything, but there is a lot of things that the kids can do, but they can't do. And like they also said, you know, the streets are need repair and everything in that. So, and as a citizen of Hampton and also as a council member, it's the responsibility of the council members to make sure we're spending our money wisely and it's not being wasted on things that, you know, aren't needed for the town to grow, which is very important. That we need our town to grow, to get businesses in here, to get young people here, give them a place to live and enjoy our town, which is a wonderful town to be. I will live here until the day I die, and I will be out the Hampton Cemetery when I pass away. I already got spots out there, so I'm planning on being here a long time until God takes my last breath.
All right, thank you.
So being a transplant, I have kind of a unique experience here. When we first moved here, I think I remember a lot of how the Hampton welcome was not so nice. The first month that my parents were here, they were building a fence, they got the permit, everything was above board, we did everything that we were supposed to do. The cops were called on us no less than 1 time a day. That's not a great way to join the town. That doesn't make us want to stay, right? Now we persevered, we're here, we're enjoying it, we're making improvements, and we're still doing that. But I kind of want to look at these things that, you know, are like, they're minor things that don't necessarily affect anyone else, that we can improve upon and broadcast a better message for people to come to Hampton. I also, I agree, like the nuisance houses and properties. We've got one behind where I live and the drug house on 5th across the street from us that was burned last week. Really glad to see that gone. But, you know, we've kind of been dealing with that the entire time. And then, you know, the streets, we've got a few motorcycles that go up and down our street like 15 times a night, going way too fast. And then we've also got an alleyway that people just fly through all the time. And so that's really important to me, to look at solutions for speed and, you know, traffic control too.
All right, thank you. All right, well, let's jump to Mr. Davies. Would you
Sure.
like a question?
Reading through the applications, you know, the first question, you know, was asking like hobbies, volunteer work, and so forth. I didn't really see a lot of volunteer work indicated. I mean, Marlene, you had mentioned when your husband was on the fire department, you volunteered. I guess what I'd like to ask you all is I guess, what volunteer experience do you have? And specifically, can you name one experience then that, what did you contribute, as well as then what did you take away from that volunteer experience? If that makes sense.
Yep.
So maybe like one volunteer experience, again, what did you contribute to that group, and then what did you take away from that volunteer experience?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's you start this time.
Absolutely. So I'll be honest, since I moved to Hampton, haven't been involved in much. I work up in Mason City, so my schedule's a little hectic, but I'm finally getting a little settled and in my groove. So I'm looking to start that back up. But back in high school, I had the opportunity my junior and senior year to be a part of the feedback panel for the district. There were about 20 of us students that met with the superintendent, second largest district in Washington State. And through that panel, we were able to instill lots of safety measures. It was around the time where school shootings were massive. We had a threat at one of our local high schools, and so that really became really prevalent in our discussions, as well as like curriculum changes, what things were working, what things were outdated, and then overall student experience. School lunches not so great, let's look at making those better, and so that's what I would say.
All right.
Okay, my experience is that whatever my husband's involved in, I'm also involved in, be whatever he's involved in, or if I'm involved in something, he's going to be involved in it, and our grandchild that we're raising will also be involved. So like, for instance, my husband, he was on the Franklin County Fair Board for many years, and I would help out there, be wherever it be. I'd go out there and mow, string trim. I was on the golf cart talking to people. I'd ask them where they were from. We had a lot of people from out of state. They would plan around our Franklin County Fair, which is a wonderful fair, by the way, I feel. When we were talking to them, I would always say, well, where you're staying and stuff, and they would say where they're staying. I would say, we have a great park here in Hampton. We have wonderful motels that you could stay at. A lot of people were really, talking to them. They really enjoyed coming to the fairgrounds. Our granddaughter right now, she's only 10. She's our granddaughter, but she's also our daughter, but we always call her our granddaughter. She's in ball right now. We're teaching her to volunteer, like when she's done with ball games and stuff, go around, pick up trash and that, because if you get rid of the trash, that's going to make your town look a lot better, and it's going to make her feel better. We'll go on a bike ride. She'll pick up trash. She'll stop and pick up trash. I've got a basket on my bike, and sometimes I come home and that trash is just full of trash, and then we'll get rid of it. So we're trying to instill, to take pride in your town, volunteer, do stuff, help out, because if you're helping out and you're helping the people around you, it's only going to make the people that you're involved, that your town looks better and everything. And when our grandkids come down here, we do the same thing for them. If we go for walks, they pick up stuff. So we're trying to instill them to be, a citizen, make your town look better and everything. My thing is that, you got to promote your town, make them show that you care about it, because if you yourself don't care about your town, when other people come into the town, they're not going to care about it. They're going to think, oh, this is just a trash, we'll just throw it on the ground. They don't care about their town. Why should we care about your town? So you need to promote that you care about your town, and that, take pride in your town, in your house, or whatever you're at. And when you're out and about, if people are talking to you, talk to them, tell them, how great of a place this is to live and grow and be a part of our community.
All right, thank you.
My biggest one, and I can't 100% call it volunteering because the city does give you a check, and is my favorite one, is the municipal band. I just love contributing to the Tuesday on the Towns, and just bringing the music and just like the fine arts and and just that atmosphere to Hampton. So like I said, I can't 100% consider it a volunteer because they do give us a little bit of money at the end of the season, but I would 100% dedicate my time to it, even if there was no check at the end of it. It's nice. It's a little like, hey, thank you, tap on the back, but I am hopeful to get to even my rehearsal tonight right after interviews. And then I would say another one is not a specific entity. It's just giving and giving back to the youth in town. I'm very young, so I'm my mother's oldest child, so I'm still almost seen as a child to a lot of family friends and stuff. So I'm big sister watching a lot of other people's children, and I love doing that. I love I love playing with the children, playing at the parks and going for walks and just giving back to those kids. It's just very fulfilling because they're so young, they're so full of life, and it means so much to me to be building adults, they're mini adults. So let's teach the kids right and wrong. Let's teach them how to enjoy themselves responsibly and not be delinquents in town. And I just love giving back to the youth and spending a lot of time with the youth.
All right, thank you.
Really about the only volunteer work I have, and I guess I never considered it volunteer work. I helped coach my daughter's softball team. Actually, we had lived in Latimer, and I helped coach her team. Helped with the concession stand a couple of times. I guess I just didn't consider that volunteer work, but it was nice working with all the kids. And as much as my child didn't want to listen to me, the other kids did. So I think it was just her. But it was a fun time. And I just, because of the way that she was, I didn't think that it would be a good idea to continue it here, just because I didn't want it to become a problem, I guess, is all. Otherwise, just, I guess, neighborly stuff. I don't know if you'd consider that volunteer work, helping out, yard work, stuff like that. And actually just like going and visiting with a couple of my neighbors. They're really fun to be around, and since I've known them my whole life, it's usually pretty rewarding, and they like to spoil my kids too, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move over to me. I've got one question for Kristen. Since you got the microphone, I guess you're next. So, on your application, you mentioned that one of your hobbies is taking walks around the town and observing the community. I just wondered what are some of the things that you've seen, and what things do you look for when you go on a walk? Are there things that you look for, or is there you just kind of observe?
I like doing a lot of people watching. I think that's kind of interesting to see, and with my job, it's just kind of like it just comes natural, I guess. My favorite place to walk would be in the cemetery. I like going, and it's always so nice in there and just so well kept, and I like going and looking at the old stones, try to find the oldest one I can in there. Otherwise, I guess just the different neighborhoods and seeing, I guess, honestly, kind of the differences in the neighborhoods from like where we live.
Yeah.
And then like Glendale Park is really nice. It's really nice to walk around there. I guess that's pretty much what I do.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Dunt.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to read a statement from Councilman Bill Holmstrom, who had a conflict and couldn't be here, and then ask one question, and I'm just going to start at the top. Bill says, I would first like to thank all of the candidates for accepting this opportunity to serve residents of Hampton. Stepping up is not always an easy thing to do. You are under public scrutiny. Expectations are high, where results are wanted quickly in an environment that sometimes moves slowly. So again, thank you for your courage and your willingness to serve our community. The first question he has here is for Marlene Tapp. Marlene, on your application, you had mentioned that you had been employed with the city for 23 years, and your husband was also employed with the city for 45 years. I can imagine the topic of city operations was a frequent topic around the supper table. Can you give me an example of a favorable conversation where you agreed that the action taken by the city was a positive one, and you were happy to see such an action take place?
Okay, snow removal. I know a lot of people complain about the snow removal. I think the city does a wonderful job on their snow removal. We have gone other places to see the cities have their snow removal, and it's not always been that great. I know it's not, people complain about their snow getting in their driveways after they have shoveled, but after 45 years, we've gotten the same treatment. I know people have said that, you get treated differently, but you don't. Sometimes it's really hard to let people know that just because you are a city employee, that you're not treated any different than a citizen of Hampton. My husband and I, we've gotten up at, excuse me, at 3 o'clock in the morning to go do the sidewalks and the snow removal. It's been really beneficial to let you know when you get out there and clean that snow, it's all nice and clean, and then to see the residents be able to go and visit our town or do whatever we need to do downtown and enjoy our beautiful downtown. You know, we've had many talks about that, even out to the cemetery. I know people have complained about the cemetery, but we have a beautiful cemetery. I worked out there for 23 years, and, you know, there's complaints about that, but we do, you know, you do your best you can. I think we have a wonderful cemetery, and we appreciate it. We've got family out there. Some of us on the council may have family, or the citizens have family. You know, we all have family out there. So we do want our cemetery to look nice. And, you know, so Brian and I have tried to always do our best what we can for the citizens of Hampton, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running for council, is to continue that, to continue to be a person for the city of Hampton and that. So, but like I said, the snow removal, we've always talked about that because people would call us and complain about the streets, or we've had different things done to us personally. But it's like, we know that people get aggravated and they're just frustrated at the time. They're not, you know, and they're just taking it out on us because you're that person. Just like on the council here, people get upset with you, but you're doing the best you can with your job, with what you do. You can only do so much. So, but I guess that's it.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Hodge won't be participating because we're filling his speed, so we'll move on over to Jerry.
What are the qualities that you like to see in a leader in your community?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you got the microphone again.
Okay. I want somebody to be able to speak up and, you know, feel what they want to feel, you know, not, you know, it's going to be hard no matter what you do, because people are not going to be happy with what you say or what you do. But you got to consider that you're speaking from your experiences or what you're handed out, you know, what you are giving for like the guidelines and everything and that. Just like we had, you guys had that thing for the dog, about the dog ordinance. I know that was a hot topic at one time. It still is, you know, and being a dog owner, it's hard because you don't want your dog to be put to sleep, but you also have to be a responsible person for a dog owner. You have to be compassion and everything, but you also have to be able to reason why you're making these decisions and everything. You just can't go in and say, I'm going to do this. You have to listen to all the facts, get the facts straight, do a little investigation, and make sure that you make the best decision for whatever comes up at the time that you are, you know, whatever is on the agenda at that time. In that, be it right or wrong, you're doing the best that you can. You need to make that decision and stick by it. And hopefully it's the right one. It's not going to please everybody, but that's just the way it is in life. You're on always going to make right decisions to please everybody. You can't please everybody. So you have to make the right decision at the time for what you need to do.
All right.
I think one of the most important qualities is to have a sense of integrity. And what I mean by that is, you know, in this role, you're listening to your constituents. You're, you know, having open, honest lines of communication as best you can. I think it's really important to kind of break down the barrier between the constituents and the council members. You know, not everyone can make a council meeting. So one of the things that I noticed in Spokane that some of the council members there would do was they would have these coffee chats on like a Saturday, and they'd choose different times. That way everyone's work schedule could get around that, and they'd be able to say, hey, you know, this dog keeps getting out. And then I'd be able to come and, you know, bring that up and deal with that. And so that's something that I would probably instill if I were to have the position. And, you know, back to the integrity part, if I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to go find it, and then I'm going to go follow up with them. I don't want them to be left wondering, like, what happened to this. I don't want them to have the responsibility of seeking out the answer and coming to me and being like, where was this? That's on me as a leader to go to them and be like, hey, here's what we're doing for you.
All right, thank you. And
I would say a big thing about being a leader is leading with compassion and equality. You got to have a big heart, not too big of a heart. You've got to, and specifically leadership on city council is, I think you're going to be a leader, so you've got power, but with that power, you need to weigh in on what the community has to say on different things. So I want to go see what this person says. I want to go see what this person says. I want to conduct my research, and I want to involve everybody. I want there to be great communication and can't think of the word I want to say right now. But I am so sorry. But big one for me is just that compassion is you want to lead with kindness. You want to show that yes, you're a leader, and but you also care about your neighbor. You care about the person down the street. You care about the person that's all the way across town, and just using your leadership and your power wisely, in my opinion, and treating everyone equally.
All right, thank you.
I think a big one is open communication, being able to communicate with the constituents and your fellow council members. We all have one end goal, to make Hampton a better place, or keep it a better place, I guess. Also, like everyone was saying, being compassionate and kind and caring about other people around you. And I would, along with that, just kind of like researching if somebody has an issue, kind of like she said, going about it, asking, seeing what other people would do, and kind of going from there.
All right, thank you. Mr. Palmer.
Okay. Well, as Marlene has seen on some Facebook posts, people don't always use my preferred pronouns of he and him to describe what I'm doing. So we waded into some good discussions there about snow plowing and dogs and everything else. So anyway, we just had a great Saturday in Hampton this past Saturday, the Grand Festival. How do we bring the Latino community together for more events, maybe like an inclusion festival or something where it's a 50-50 split of our community coming together and including everybody? And we can let's start with Aviana, because she hasn't started one yet.
As a member of the Latino community, I love this question, and I love that festival every year. I look forward to it. I was acting like a child watching the rain, waiting for that rain to stop on Saturday, and finally we decided we're going to go out in the rain. Your question is to bring the Latino community together, not just that festival, correct?
Just an include, I see that, from my point of view, I see a grand festival will be more Latino-based, and I see like a chamber event more other-based. And I want to see something that 50-50, we got planning on both sides of it, and we work together on that.
One thing that I hear a lot in Hampton from a lot of residents, and I mean, it is true. We've got how many Mexican restaurants, and we've got how many. So I would say that bringing the the chamber to them almost too. There is a language barrier there sometimes too. Let's do a walk down Main Street, and let's do special margaritas from this place, and let's do tacos from this place, because those are I would say some of the main dishes and popular stuff with those guys. And I would just say let's hop down Main Street. Our Main Street, I would say, is booming more than it has been in the past. So, and I would say our Main is where everyone would come together. So I would say let's do some more. I know La Luce last fall, and I believe the fall before that, they had their little street festival. That is great. I would say let's do some more of those, and we can do with other different communities as well. We can do a Latino street festival. We can also just do an in general street festival, and that in general street festival is going to bring the Latinos to you too. So I would say that sometimes the Grand Festival and that La Luce Street Festival is a little intimidating to other members of the community that are not from the Latino community. So I would say if we would do a little more, let's do a street festival at the, I believe there was one, I can't put my tongue on it exactly, if it was that almost the grand opening of the Peace Plaza, that one was really great, and it brought a lot of people together. And just music on Main is a big one, I would say. Just entertainment, and just bring the entertainment downtown. And I just remember being a child and always walking downtown, and that was when tropical snow was still there, and you would go get some tropical snow, and there would be different events going on in Bandshell, mainly Bandshell, because that's where you can hold a lot of people. But I would just say more of your regular chamber, non-chamber events downtown would bring a lot more, I think, Latinos to those. And then I would say that if there's more Latinos at those events, more non-Latinos are going to be going to the Grand Festival and the La Luz Street Festival, and just bringing us all together and mixing us all together.
All right. Thank you.
Marlene.
Okay. I agree with her. It would be nice to have something like either downtown or go to Bandshell. I think Bandshell would be a really good place to have it. If you have like a music festival, have like some Latino music, and then also have like 50s or 60s music, so kind of combined it together. So then that way you can draw both crowds and stuff. Have like food vendors from like the Hispanic community, because I love Hispanic food. I mean, I love food anyway. And then you can have just like different food from each culture come there. Have it down at Bandshell or have it in Main Street, something like that. Have a big dance party, I went there on Saturday. It was a great time, great festival. A lot of people were there, but it was more like, Pat said, the Hispanic community and stuff, which is great. I think that's a great way to promote our Hispanic community because they are a very important part of our community and stuff. They bring a lot to Hampton and everything and that. But it's just like if you could do something maybe at Bandshell to have like both cultures come together as one, like even when they have the car show that's coming up. There's car shows down there. A lot of, people love the car shows. Maybe try to get the Hispanic community involved in our car shows and different things and that. Just try to draw them in either through like the chamber or just like talk to the Hispanic community at that, whatever that place is. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, at that one there. Try to have them maybe have their cars there or motorcycles or something there to draw the community together as one, because we are one community. We're not this community or this community. We are a community of one, and people have to remember that we are one and one community, and that helps Hampton to grow.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
That's fine.
So one thing I've noticed when trying to do this kind of outreach and bring people together is that, there's this kind of division, right? And one side's going to be more willing to reach out. And I think what's really important is that we start to reach out to them where they already are, right? The families are hanging out at the pool, at the city park, take an ice cream social to them. Everyone's going to come for ice cream, right? Like we all like free ice cream. Take the fair, for example. Bring in some like music that they like, and get their input on that so that we're like catering to their interests, and provide some more activities that might be more cultural for them there.
Thank you.
I really don't have a lot different to say than everybody else did. I do think La Luz is a great resource to use, and maybe involving them in some of the planning of these events. I'm sure they already are, but just utilizing that resource, I think that would help figure out a way to kind of draw everybody together, if you're just working together.
All right. Thank you. All right. Back over here with Barry. Start over.
Dramatic. I guess this is a question for everyone. What inspired you to apply?
I just wanted to make sure that Hampton would stay a nice place for people to be, and be involved in that, because I think it's a great place to raise a family. When I did live away from Hampton, I really missed the small town aspect of it. I missed being here, and I just would like to keep it that way and make it a nice place for my children to grow up as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the biggest ones for me was bringing a voice to the underrepresented parties in the past. There's not a lot of young people that, or there's not young people in general, not to throw that around, on the council. I think I think a voice. One of the biggest concerns that, and it's mine as well, that I hear from everybody, is keeping the young people in town and keeping those young families in town. So I think adding a young person voice to the council would really help that. Sometimes you guys all have families, but you don't have young children in this day and age. So I think that would be another just voice for the people. And then another one too for me, back on the underrepresented parties, is I would just really like to bring a voice to the Hispanic community of Hampton. There's a lot of things that this community doesn't, they don't know that they have the power and the access to come to city council with their concerns. And I want to make sure that they know that they can come with all of their concerns as well, not just the ones that are historically voicing their concerns. So I want to just include everybody, and we can say we're including them, but without actually having the point of view of one of them. I would say it is kind of, I don't know how to say it, but I just think I was very motivated to give the Hispanic community a voice, and the young Hispanic community a voice, and the young women a voice in Hampton. So my age and my ethnicity was definitely want to give those people a voice.
All right. Thank you.
My reasoning is that I had worked for the city for a few years and as my husband has also. So I was on that side of the workforce, and now I'd like to be on the other side of this to help make decisions for the city of Hampton to see it grow. We also have our granddaughter is in 5th grade this year, so I also have a young child in school, so I do know what is involved in this school, even though I am few years older than some of these. They could probably be my children. But, I do have a relationship with the granddaughter and everything, and she has Hispanic friends and everything. So, and I have talked to some of the Hispanic family members about different things and that. So I do have a connection with the younger generation also, like, the other ones do and everything and that. So, and I just wanted to run because I feel it's a part of our duty to be involved in our city and everything.
All right.
I think what inspired me most was, my unique perspective being in this town. I'm young. I was not born and raised here. Sometimes, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but sometimes we get stuck in this is how we've always done it, right? And sometimes we just need that voice that comes in and shakes it up, and it's like, well, but maybe we should do it this way. And maybe we should look at changing this, not to lose the meaning behind it, but to make it better and current with the times. And in doing that, that would make it more appealing to people looking to move, looking to experience small town America. And so that's what inspires me.
All right, thank you. Mr. Davies.
Okay, let's say there's let's call it a controversial issue. And, you've done your research and, you're talking to different people and you're finding, let's say, a majority of the people, your constituents and maybe other than just in your ward, feel one way, but you feel the other way. How are you going to vote?
I think as a representative of the ward, it's important to listen to the people in your ward. I have one opinion, but I can guarantee that's not the same opinion of everyone in my ward, right? And so you've got to kind of take that consensus and look at, okay, this is what my ward feels. This is how the city as a whole feels. And this is what's best for us all. And that's how you come to that decision.
I agree with her. Just because you feel one way doesn't mean that's the better way. You have to go ahead and fill out, talk to the people in your ward, not only in your ward, but if there's other people that feel that they can't maybe talk to someone else in another ward or anything, and they come and talk to you, you have to also consider their feelings and everything. And just because you feel one way doesn't mean it's the right way. You have to also consider everybody else's and then figure out what's the best. And if that's what they want, even if that's not what you don't feel is best, then you need to go ahead and vote the way that they want, because you are representing them. You're not just representing yourself. You have to represent the whole town, the whole community, just not one person. You're doing everybody's voice for them.
All right, thank you.
I feel like we're gonna all say the same thing. I'm just gonna reiterate it all. As a representative, your responsibility is to be listening to the public and getting their opinions. And my opinion doesn't have to matter all the time. And it might not be relevant to the issue in Hampton. My opinion might not always be relevant, and it's going to be one of our jobs to follow what the people want. So it'll keep me up at night probably if my ward is saying yes, 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 and I'm like, no, no, no. But I would say I worked for a lawyer, so I think sometimes a little bit like a lawyer. So I'm going to persuade. Personally, I always am going to be the devil's advocate. It could be something that I 100% agree with, but I just want to poke and just see if what I can get. Sometimes. So I'm going to go see what the residents of my ward have to say. But I'm also going to bring up points. If I feel the opposite of them, I'm going to bring points up with them too and see what they have to say. And then just see if I can just offer a different point of view, and then we can just sit down and have a conversation about it. But essentially, same thing. We are elected to represent our people. So if the people want it this way, and I'm probably gonna sit and think about it forever and just make sure it's the best decision possible.
All right, thank you.
Same thing as everyone else. That's where the open communication would come in. You can give me your opinion, I can give you my opinion, and hopefully there's a way for a compromise. If not, like they said, you're elected to your ward to represent the people. So I would think you'd go with the people, and hopefully that would be the best decision for this town.
All right, thank you. All right, I've got one for Aviana. In your line of work, I imagine that you work with very many professionals and citizens in different ways of life. But do you have an example? I know you're younger than I am, but do you have an example of a time you may have worked with other elected officials and how that turned out?
We work, I would say a very high percentage of our work just comes from county attorneys, and those individuals are elected. They're the elected officials to be keeping their counties safe. And it is very interesting, and I love information. I love new information. I love old information. I love facts. So it's always fun to see why these individuals ran for county attorneys and picking their brains. I would say next in line is we do a lot of work for obviously the city of Hampton, because Megan is the city attorney. We do a lot of work for the city of Latimer. We do a lot of work for the city of Hansel. So I have, and the rest of the firm has as well, we communicate with city clerks every day. We communicate with council members as well, different mayors, and I would just say we're all the same people. We are elected officials, but we're just human, and we're the individuals in Latimer are representing their people, just like I would like to represent my people in Hampton. So.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dunn.
Elizabeth, on your application, this is from Bill Holmstrom. On your application, you stated that you think you would be able to provide insight on how to draw the next generations to return or come to Hampton. Can you explain one type of insight you might use to accomplish these goals? And do you have any suggestions for the council which might be used to entice the younger population from leaving Hampton in the first place?
Yeah, so I think one of the ways that I would do that is, I know of the city council. I have Facebook, but I don't use it very much. My generation is on TikTok, some Instagram, but we need to start meeting that generation where they're at, communicating via those lines of communication. And then as far as like drawing them to our community, we've got to look at like what events are the people going to. So this is kind of a funny story. There's a band called the All American Rejects, and they're doing a house party tour this summer, and it's so much fun. They did an Ames pop-up, and what I found was that crowd, yes, there was an older crowd in there, but so many young people showed up to that, and it was kind of like this impulsive decision that they were like, this is a really chill show. We were in a barn in the middle of a cornfield. There were 5,000 other people. It was wild. But kind of looking at the different creative ideas of what can we bring to Hampton. Not saying we do a 5,000 person pop-up show. I don't think Hampton can support that. But, there are opportunities to bring more of the arts into the community. I know myself and a few of my friends would really love to start like poetry open mics and poetry workshops, and kind of getting more of that in our community, and displaying that. There's been up in Mankato, they just did a huge like sculpture installation, and it's this walk that they did. So like I don't know the name of the trail, but it's the very long trail. It connects to Beats Lake, I think. We could do something like that along there, and you tie in multimedia art. So you have people do sculptures, then you have people write poetry about what Hampton is and about the trails and about the nature, and you can provide like interactive parts of that, like put some prompts up or leave or like do like a photo challenge along it. That would be a really simple thing for people to interact with, and I think would draw people into Hampton.
All right, thank you. Ms. Griefy?
What are your top 3 issues or concerns that you would like to see addressed by the council?
Yeah, I think, and you guys have been doing a great job about it. The nuisances in town, that's a big one, I think, across the board. The other thing, we've got some road infrastructure that really needs addressed. And then I think the other thing is just looking at how to bring the community together as a whole, looking at what might be divisive, and is that a divisiveness in a good way, or is that hindering us from being good neighbors to one another?
Thank you.
Okay, like she said, the roads, I mean, and that's an ongoing issue. That's always going to be a problem, is our roads. That's never, ever going to go away. I think we need to try to draw businesses here. I think if you get the younger people here, for like, if we can get some businesses in here, other towns are losing their businesses, they're closing down. We need to try to get some businesses here. So if you get businesses here, then you're going to draw younger people. They're going to have families. They're going to go into the school system. They're going to go downtown. They may start up a business downtown and everything. And your housing, you got to have housing for the people that, want to live here and stuff. And a concern is also the nuisances, and that's going to be a never-ending thing. You're never, ever, unfortunately, going to not get rid of nuisances and stuff, because there's always going to be people, I go for bike rides and stuff and that, and, you look at houses and they're really nice, and then you go to another one and it's just like, okay, this needs to come down. But that's also going to be an ongoing issue. I don't think, and unfortunately, it's never, ever going to go away. You go to other towns, you see the same thing, even out of state, it's just not here in Iowa. It's the whole United States. They have the same problems with the roads and the nuisances and stuff. So it's just not our town. It's unfortunately the whole United States. They have that problem in that. But you need to somehow got to figure out how to get businesses back into town here so our town can grow and not die, but it's a slow process. It's not going to be done overnight. Some of you guys have been on the city council for a long time, and it's from day one, it's the same thing over and over again. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's not going to go away, unfortunately, and I don't know how you can make that go away. It's not going to go away. So I wish it would, because our town is great, but you just got to keep going and keep plugging away at what we're doing right now. And
right.
I thank the council for all the efforts they've been putting into this.
Thank you.
3 is a very small number, but it's also a very big number when you say what needs to be fixed, or just addressed. That doesn't mean fixed, doesn't mean it needs to be broken. We can just change it. Probably going to say a lot of what we've already said, because I just do think that they are concerns, and they're big concerns for the members of Hampton. Are safety, I would say, is a big one. For me, is just and I know it's a lot bigger than just saying, oh, my corner needs a stop sign, or that sidewalk is broken and needs to be fixed. But I do think there's lots of different things in town that we could address and fix that would bring a lot more people to Hampton, keep the people staying in Hampton. I would say the big one, and then we can umbrella maybe 3 underneath that, is the safety. And let's make our sidewalks safer. I love walking just like Kristen does, and I gotta say, though, I'm walking in the street. I'm not walking on majority of the sidewalks in this town. A lot of it is the lot on the corner doesn't have a sidewalk, so I'm walking through their yard. What's in their yard? Just because God knows what, because sometimes we have those nuisance properties. And just then when we're walking in the street, then that is where all the cars are driving. So that's when I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get hit by a car? Because they're just driving so darn fast around me. And then, like the bike trail, I opt not to walk on the bike trail a lot of the times alone, just because sometimes we've got some different safety issues with the individuals that use the bike trail. So I would say just there's probably lots of different things we can address in Hampton to make it safer. Let's do sidewalks. Let's do roads. I'm not trying to have my tire blow up when I hit a pothole. And yeah.
All right, thank you.
I would agree again. Roads, definitely. Like she said, sidewalks. That's one of the main reasons also that I like the cemetery is because it's pretty smooth. Sidewalks, especially in our neighborhood, are not very nice. And along with walking on roads, you don't know what you're going to be walking on, what you're going to get on yourself. Also, the nuisances still with that. But I think they do a good job with cleaning those up and doing what they can with those. And I guess the third one also would just bringing in new things to attract younger people to come here to keep the town thriving.
All right, thank you. Mr. Palmer.
Okay. Let's talk about sidewalks, since we brought sidewalks up. How do you explain to a 70, and we have an older base in your neck of the woods. Ward 1 is more of an older community, I believe. How do you explain to a 70-year-old property owner to fix your sidewalk when they're choosing between medication and a sidewalk? Go ahead.
That's a tough one.
Because they're not our sidewalks.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to go with take care of yourself first. Obviously, if you have to choose between your medication and the sidewalk, choose your medication. I know that you're probably going to get, I know in Waterloo, if you didn't fix your sidewalk, they would come and fix it for you and then bill you for it. I'm assuming it would be about the same.
We're not
here.
there yet on that, but
But that's how they did it in Waterloo. But I would say take care of yourself first. You're more important than the sidewalk, and I'll continue to walk on the roads. It's fine.
That is a very great question and a massive eye opener. My ankle probably does not oversee, let's say Joe, who needs his heart medication. So it is something that we all have voiced as a concern, but we are obviously not going to say you need to pay to fix your sidewalk and we're going to put you in an immense amount of debt just because I want to feel safer on the sidewalk. I'm not gonna, let's take it to the extreme of just saying that my safety is greater or trumps your living, because I would say a lot of medications, and I would say probably like the point of the question is, are those life-saving medications that are very expensive? Yeah, I'm not going to say you can't get your medicine, take care of yourself. I will take care of myself and walk safely.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm in that generation where you do need your medication, and it is because you need your medication or your food or repairs on your home or whatever. Medication is very important to people. It doesn't matter if you're young, old, or whatever. You need your medication to live a healthy life. For the sidewalk concern, maybe there's a grant or something that can be done to help with the sidewalks. You don't want to have the city come in and do the sidewalks because it's going to go on your property taxes, and then the property taxes are up. If a person cannot afford their medication, how are they going to afford higher property taxes? It's like you're doing them a service by putting in the sidewalk, yeah, but you're also hurting them because their property taxes are gonna go up. If they can't afford their medication, they're not gonna be able to afford their property taxes. So maybe there's a grant or something that you could help them with and help them apply, because a lot of the elderly people, you know, older than me, maybe don't know how to do the grants and stuff. So maybe there's something that we could do to help them with a grant to help them get a sidewalk in, or maybe a payment plan or something. It's a hard thing to do because it is a safety concern and everything, because you don't want to be going down on a sidewalk walking and hit something and then you fall and break I shouldn't say hip because I said it because I'm older, okay? Break an ankle or whatever or something, you don't want to do that, and then you get sued, so that's another thing that could happen. So maybe, like I said, there's grants or something that you could help the homeowners with to help them put in sidewalks, or maybe somebody would be even willing to donate their labor, not necessarily the cost of the cement, but maybe they'd be someone out there that would be gracious enough to help with the labor costs, because there are a lot of people here in Hampton that do volunteer and help out and everything. So that's just a thought.
All right.
So I think this is one of the moments where, as a council member, we kind of have a duty to get creative with our job, right? Obviously, he needs his heart medication, and a sidewalk is not cheap. Me and my parents have been looking at replacing ours, not cheap. And so, we're looking at like a bigger mountain than just the heart medication. He's affording his heart medication on a month-to-month basis. He's going to have to budget for a sidewalk for years before that's going to be able to happen. We're going to need the sidewalk replaced before then. So I think what we look at is creating some sort of program. This is a widespread problem within Hampton now. It's not just, a couple properties here or there that we help the homeowners get that project rolling. Maybe some sort of tax credit, maybe some sort of grant, and take on the responsibility and find places within our city government to bear a little bit more of that load. Because the other thing is, if he needs his heart medication and he's a little bit older, he's not going to have the wherewithal to, navigate today's online systems, navigate, the 30-step process it takes to get a grant. Things have changed so much, and so we really need to be supporting them in that way.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We got everybody on yours, right? Okay, we got everybody on yours.
I think so, yeah, we did.
Let's just stand up. Anybody need a break? Take a quick break, or just keep going? And we'll
I
make
got
another-
17
make
more
another-
questions. I
Make
know.
another pass, and we'll see where we're
You
at.
see, Bill's
and we'll
got
go
at least
from
20
there.
on that sheet.
All right.
By 10,
You've missed band practice.
All right. We'll go back over to Mr.
All
Lamos
right,
then.
same question for everyone. How do you handle criticism?
That's all? Okay. I think, and I've taken a really long time to learn how to handle criticism. I've historically not done it very well. But I take it as kind of a wake-up call to, take a step back, take a breather, look at what I'm doing that caused that criticism. Look at, is that criticism valid towards me, or is there a different situation that's causing that criticism, if that makes sense, that also needs to be addressed? And then you just kind of have to level it all out and say, I could have done this better, but I also see we need to fix this, this, and this for you.
Thank you.
Oh, criticism. I've been there many times on different things from my work, and as Brian has too at his work. So we've been criticized quite a bit. You just let the people voice their criticism. You try to explain, if you are able to, why this was done a certain way. You don't want to argue with them because it just aggravates them more, a person more. And sometimes you just got to say, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'll try to do better. What can I do to help fix the situation? What do you think is what I did wrong to help you so you're not so upset with me? What did I do? You know, just tell me, is there something specific that can be done to fix this problem that is causing you to be upset? And then sometimes you just go, I'm sorry that it happened, and then you just kind of walk away too, because you don't want to engage in an argument, because that only just gets the person more upset, and they're going to be more upset. Sometimes you just have to let things roll off your back and just walk away from the situation. You don't want to continue on, because it's not going to get any better, and they're not going to like the situation. And if you voice your opinion and stuff, they're just going to say, well, they don't understand, they haven't been there and stuff. So sometimes you just have to listen to them and then say you're sorry, and then what do you want them, you know, what do you want done to help them to better themselves so they're not so upset with you? And then just say you're sorry and try to do better, and just walk away, and just hopefully you don't, you know, burn the bridges and stuff, as they say.
Thank you.
Great points from both of them. One that stuck with me that Elizabeth said was that they obviously said it for a reason, or sometimes you get the people that'll just say stuff just to say it, but sometimes you've got the criticism that, well, maybe they had a point. Maybe I am closed-minded. Maybe I need to take a step back and reflect on this criticism. You can't get too lost in it, because then you're just going to lose yourself. You're going to lose your values. You're just going to say, oh, well, maybe I need to change this. Maybe I need to change this. I need to change all of this. But and change is very good, very good. Just, I would say, criticism to myself personally, it is definitely a time of reflection. It is, well, your attitude hasn't been great. Well, you know what? That you're probably right. And the thing about criticism too is it's not always delivered in a manner that you want to hear. It's more standardly going to be delivered in a negative manner. So it and Marlene said it well too. Just sometimes you do have to. You can reflect, but sometimes you do just have to let it roll off your back. And it is great what we have in this day and age of the media and online, and you just gotta sometimes let that go. Don't involve yourself in it too much. Stand up for what you believe, but also don't make it too big of a stink, like Marlene said too.
Thank you.
I think if it's valid criticism, then that's when you can reflect and learn and try to better yourself. Maybe see if they have an opinion on how you can better yourself. Kind of take away from that a little bit. But there are people, like they said, who just say things and you just let it go. There's not always a point in arguing with people, because you're not going to change somebody's opinion.
All right. All right. Thank you. Mr. Davey?
I don't have any more questions at this time.
Okay, I've got one left. And I'll direct this one at Marlene. On your application, you mentioned that you felt that the role of the city council member is to make sure that Hampton is financially stable. Do you think that Hampton is financial stable currently?
At this time, from when I've attended the council meetings, I feel that you guys are doing a good job. It's a hard job to do finances. We're all on a budget. You're on a budget personally at home. I'm on a budget at home. We all live from, our paychecks to paycheck, and the city's no different. You have money coming in and you have money going out. You got to make sure that you're spending that money wisely, which I think the city has been doing that so far so good in that. So just keep plugging away at your expenses and everything, and that'll go away. you're always going to have something that's going to come up again because things are always breaking down. So, but you got to get the most bang for your bucks, as they say. So I think you guys are doing a good job so far.
So the other part of that would be, what steps would you take to put our community on a firmer financial platform?
There's probably always places that you can maybe cut back if someone wants some money from previous years. Maybe it's a hard thing that you're going to have to say, hey, we don't have that money this year. We're going to have to come back another year and reapply for it. Just like anybody, there's your wants and your needs. Is this something that you want, or is it something that you really, really need to have for whatever you're needing it for, be whatever the situation is? There's always your wants and your needs. We all need stuff, and then we always want certain things, so in that. But
Thank you. Chief, Jerry?
Bill don't have any?
No, we've covered them. Ms. Griefy?
I have a question for Aviana. You're working with our city attorney.
Yes.
There might be some times that there's conflict of interest. There might be some times, I don't know, just if you were city councilor, there might be times you're walking a tightrope. Are you able to separate your job from city council duties?
Yes, I knew this question would be coming. I take my job very seriously. However, my role as a legal assistant, I hate being called, oh, you're just a secretary. You're just a secretary. There's nothing wrong with being a secretary if that's your title, but there's so much more behind being a secretary. You do a lot of administrative work. You're the main customer service person on the phone. You are, I would say my job is more customer service and making sure the office is organized. And I don't have any input in what gets inserted in ordinances, or my input might be, hey, I think you need to put a comma there, or hey, there's a run-on sentence. However, the content of the document being drafted, or the content of whatever is of concern, is essentially irrelevant to me when I'm sitting in my chair at Katie and Rosenberg. My job is to proofread it, make sure it flows. I read it out loud. You can read it in your head, sounds one way. You can read it out loud, sounds a different way. So that's essentially my job. Megan is the big brains, and I just kind of make sure she's got her pages numbered and that sort of stuff. And I don't want to downplay my job either, but I would say, just with all sorts of cases, even if I were to be a councilwoman, there's lots of times me as a legal assistant, I might not agree with what is going on in the case in general, but that doesn't matter. It is my job to be my administrative professional self. So I would say, like, to bring up one of the concerns right now is that dog ordinance is it's coming from the city attorney's office, yes, and but my job in those documents, in the drafting of those documents, is to make sure they flow right and just make sure that they are. I'm just kind of like a little helper. I'm your sorry guys.
Make sure all the I's are dotted
Yes.
and the T's are crossed.
Yes, and just making sure that everything is organized. I call myself an overpaid organizer. I just keep everybody straight. You need to be here at this time. You need to be here at this time. You need to be doing this today. The deadline is today. So I do the behind the scenes work as far as that. I don't do any of the document drafting. That is not my job. That is the city attorney's job.
All right, thank you. Mr. Palmer?
One thing I think we're saving money on is not having a social media person for the city. We turn a lot of the Facebook stuff over to the chamber. They announce stuff like that, because I don't care who you are, Nobody wants to have a complaint at 2 in the morning about the snow removal on your Facebook page, even if it's true or not. I get enough myself. But we have stepped into the 21st century because you can say hi to the camera there, the camera back there. My phone is blowing up with people talking about you guys answering questions on Facebook. I can only imagine what's being posted, but the messages coming into me, I'm reading them as we go along, and they're entertaining. So anyway, we are in that, and that's really increased participation because we can go home, and after I see the debate on the dog issue or the debate about this, or when somebody comes up and lambasts us and starts clapping and tapping and pointing fingers and screaming, we get pretty good reach that way. I mean, we could monetize that sooner or later. But anyway, the YouTube has really helped people who can't make meetings watch them later, and I think that's been a real good thing. Let's talk about something I have read lately on Facebook, just from a few people. And of course, a few people, if they're given a loud enough amplifier, make it loud. What is your view of our drinking water quality in Hampton, and how would you handle complaints about it? And we can start off with Kristen again.
Having lived here almost my whole life, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. I drank from the hose. Honestly, I've not ever really had a complaint about the drinking water. I do know there are a lot of people who won't drink city water. They just prefer the bottled water, I guess. I guess it was if they have a complaint about the city
What
water.
would you, their water sucks. What do you say?
I'm sorry you feel that way. You're entitled to your opinion. I guess if they have any questions or concerns about it, they can always go to city and voice their concerns and go from there.
I would probably tell the person, because if I'm being completely honest, I don't really know much about the Hampton City Water and how you guys handle the drinkability, and it's not even sometimes you guys specifically, it's a different department. I would tell the individual that this specific topic is something that I'm going to have to research and get back to you, if I'm being 100% honest. And same thing with Kristen, is I'm very sorry you feel that way. Let me do some research and see what I can bring back to you. Let's see what the city is doing. Let's see what the city could improve on. And that's how I would approach it, is probably just doing a little fact checking before I give my all with my 100% answer.
Do you drink it?
That's not fair.
Trick question.
That is a very fair question. I do not choose to drink the water as my everyday drinking water. The water in my cup right now is not city water. However, I do use the city water in my coffee pot, though, so I guess I'm not being too picky if I can use it for my coffee, but I can't drink it like this.
That's all right. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Just curious.
I think the water situation, wherever you go, you get used to your own drinking water. So if you go, like our boys are in Missouri and stuff, and their water at their house is just like, no, I won't drink it. We're campers. We take our water there. I have a jug here, and yes, this is city water with city ice cube made from the city water. I know that the guys that work out the city water department, they do a good job and stuff. For complaints, I'm not knowledgeable on that, so I would direct them to go to the person that is in charge of that, like Doug back there, and that, because he's more knowledgeable than I am. But like I said, no matter where you go, Rockford's water, where my hometown is, different. Everybody has a different flavor for their water. I know a lot of people do have filters in their waters and everything in that. So, and I do also drink bottled water and stuff, but for the most part, I do drink the Hampton water and stuff. And I know people have complained about the chlorine smell and taste once in a while, and I know that's been adjusted, and I know they're going to get, you talked about getting rid of the fluoride in the water, because you get fluoride from other places and that. And my kids, They've had braces. Their teeth are really, really good, and they have lived here in Hampton. They're 40 and 43 they are. Yeah, I'm telling my age here. But their teeth are really, really good, and I think it's just because of, the going to the dentist and the fluoride, but the grandkids, their teeth are not the best, but I shouldn't say that. But I think our drinking water's pretty good here in Hampton overall compared to other places and stuff, so I have no complaints on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so, full confession. We do not drink the city water. We do not cook with the city water. The first 3 months we were here, and we got really, really sick. Now, with that being said, I was born and raised in Spokane, Washington. They have an aquifer. You should research it. It's fantastic. Best water you'll ever taste. So we were spoiled, but your body also adjusts to that. But there is something to say about, we moved here, and then all of a sudden we were really sick, and we stopped doing the city water. We switched to cooking and drinking entirely bottled water, and everything was fine after that. And so I empathize with the people that complain about that. I would love to be able to drink our city water, but that's just not something I'm willing to do right now. So I would, let them know, like, hey, I completely understand. But we've got to look at some different solutions, look at what's causing the problems, look at what's causing the taste problems, look at what's causing the health problems. There is an overall problem in Iowa with the water quality. And so I think it's, a little bit bigger than just our city. And so we've got to kind of look at that here, but also go to a wider spread problem solving.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Palmer, Mr. Lamos, anything
questions?
else? Nothing there, and you're done, and I'm done. You're done. Ms.
I'm tapping
Griffey?
out.
You're tapping out. Ms. Palmer?
I just had one more that's semi-foolish. It was one I was going to ask instead of the sidewalk one. Around my travels in Hampton, and I go a lot of places in Hampton, and lately a lot in Ward 1, it has the highest percentage of houses that don't have house numbers. And I really feel bad for the UPS guy, the mailman. People should have house numbers. If an ambulance comes, where do they go? And I mean, we're getting after it, but if you see a neighbor down the street doesn't have a house number, what are you going to say to that person?
So I would first, be like, hey, did you notice you don't have a house number?
It's a law.
Yeah. And then, there's pretty affordable options. I'm not against past being like, did you know this? Is there a barrier to you getting this? The house numbers are pretty short here. I'm not against going and buying the really cheap stickers to help them. I think that's just the right neighborly thing to do. I'd do that as a neighbor, whether or not I was on the city council. I do want to touch base on the ambulance thing. One other thing that I noticed, and whether we address that, our neighborhoods here are really dark. No one has porch lights that they have on. They have porch lights. They don't have them on. The street lights don't glow very bright. And that was one of the very shocking differences from here to Washington. And yes, it helps with the light pollution, but also it's really scary getting out of my car at night because it's like pitch black outside. And if you drive by our house, we have like 20 lights on the outside of our property. It is lit up. So that would be another thing I would, say we should address along with that.
Thank you.
Yes, having your numbers on your house are very important because unfortunately we've had ambulances at our house before, so it is very important to have your numbers on your house. There, maybe we can do a fund or something that we can do a funding or something that to give people that need house, numbers and that, because maybe the Hispanic community, I'm not picking on them or anything, but maybe they don't have house numbers or that, or they don't know how to go about attaining them and that. maybe we could do like a little GoFundMe type thing for like house numbers and everything in that, so to help the people in that. Or like, when you have an event uptown or something, and, you have like your perishable foods, you bring that in for a donation and stuff. Maybe we could go ahead, instead of doing a donation of a food to like the food pantry, do like house numbers or something in that and drop them off at one of our local pantries and stuff so they could pick them up there. That's an idea. Instead of donating, we do donating food, which is great because our community does need that for, our food pantries and stuff, but maybe you could also donate your house, somebody's like house numbers or numbers for a house. That's another option that you could come up with.
Thank you.
I will probably take it to the extreme of giving them an analogy of, you need an ambulance at your house and you don't have a house number. The ambulance driving around the block 3 times could probably sometimes be a life or death situation. So I'm going to take it to the dramatic level personally. And I'm just gonna, the ambulance question, not the ambulance topic, was a really great one, and just law enforcement in general, just the safety of, we got to have house numbers, and it is a law. You just got to start with, hey, this is a requirement first, why don't you have it? And then probably if they've got some excuse of something, we're like, okay, I'm going to take it to that extreme and just say that this is your safety, this is the law. And I'm also not against, I'm going to take it to that extreme, but I'm also not against assisting you in general. Do you need me to paint 3-2-1 on your house? I can do that right now. It might not be super beautiful, but I'll do that for you. So we just have to be friendly neighbors and definitely be reminding the residents of all wards. And then, like you said, I personally didn't realize it was that big of an issue, specifically in our ward, that there's not a lot of house numbers. So that is a great thing that maybe even if I'm not a council person, it's going to be going and just being a good neighbor, just saying, hey, maybe you should get a house number.
Thank you.
I will also reiterate the safety concerns for that. Law enforcement and ambulance-wise, it is a pretty big deal to have a house number. And again, try to figure out, hey, why don't you have a house number? And try to help them out. I don't know if there's anything post office-wise that they could help out with or not. Check into that too. But definitely make it known, hey, you might want a house number on your house. So that way, if you have a problem, we can find you.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay.
Well, that was easy.
Looks like everybody's tapping out here. So I just wanted to touch on the house number. I just moved to a street where I only had one number. Then I could afford to put my house number on it. But not really, but. So what I did want to do is thank you guys. Number one, putting your applications in for your patience tonight. It does take a while to get when we get a few applicants in here. Thank you to the council for your patience as well, because it takes a while to get through this, and we want to make the best decision that we can, given the 5 candidates that we have to pick from. So we'll take all this information, of course, talk about you, just digest it, and come up with a winner, if you will. We will be making decision on the regular council meeting on the 12th. Marlene won't be here, but she's going to Zoom in. So the candidate that is chosen will begin your official duties on July 1st. Okay, find the words that'll come out. Your first actual council workshop would be on Monday, July 7th. So I'll be planning on that. But come Thursday night, we will make a decision on that. And I just wanted to thank all of you again for coming. Good luck for everybody. But we got 5 great candidates and to choose from, so we're we're gonna do the best we can. And again, thank you.
All right.
All right. All right, moving on. We're not even done yet.
About my bed.
Yeah, we can set that down if you want, unless you want to just like hanging on to it.
Yeah, I felt, well, because last time we had a bunch of standing up and
Yep,
sitting down
yep.
and musical chairs and
All right,
so.
right, don't do that. All right, next item on the agenda tonight is the update on the 4 and 6 First Street Northwest progress, which is the pharmacy building over here on Main Street. And Mr. Dunt.
Yes, so the engineers have let me know that the company Terracon that they've hired to finalize bid documents for the asbestos abatement, they're hoping to finalize those documents the end of this week and releasing them for quotes. The goal is the first week in July. With the attendance start time would be planned in the fall after school's back in session. The reason they're doing it after school's back in session is because most of the asbestos contractors are working in schools removing asbestos for school projects through the summer when children are out of the schools. So to get more competitive bids, they bid it so that the work can happen after school's back in session. So this fall will be the asbestos abatement. That's the update on that. Are there any questions? Okay.
Not hearing any. All right, thank you for that update. Last item, second last item on the agenda is discuss the library foundation requested deed the library parking lot to the city. Mr. Dunt.
So years ago, when the old house next door to the library was torn down, the library foundation became the owner, and the parking lot was put in. The foundation wishes to just deed the property to the city. The city owns the library. They're requesting that we agree to let them deed the library parking lot to the city. I don't have an issue with that. I would recommend that we approve of that. So if you're okay, consensus, no decision tonight, but if you're okay with allowing them to have a deed prepared, then I'll forward that information.
How much do they want for it?
Nothing.
So if we're all good in agreement, that's a good move, I think, on our end.
I'll let them know.
To get that, so we'll move forward with that.
They don't pay taxes on that, do they?
I don't believe so.
Exempt.
I don't believe so, yeah.
All right, thank you. And the last thing on the agenda, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Got my note here from my purse, so I don't forget my purse.
Where was your purse again? Oh, okay.